All right, so the agenda for today is to talk about multi-layered perceptron. So now, basically, here we are going to understand why this multi-layered perceptron is really important for us. Now, what does that mean, first of all? We had a brief discussion about the perceptrons in the last discussion. So now let's say I have various inputs. Let's say I have x1, which is my one of the features, x2 and x3. These are my features. Here I have the hidden layer, which are my neurons. So this is my one of the hidden layers, and this is my input layer. After that, we have one more hidden layer, let's say, which is my hidden layer number 2. So here you can see I have multi-layer of basically the hidden layers. Maybe after that I have one more hidden layer with three neurons, then maybe one more hidden layer, and then finally the output. So here what we are actually doing is we are coming up with multiple hidden layers which may have different functions to it. Maybe here I have sigmoid function, here I have a ReLU function. We'll talk about a lot of various functions out there. So various different functions are there. And here there is no limit. We can have any number of hidden layers. And all these are connected. All these are connected. You can see here, all the input variables are connected to each other, connected to each neuron, basically. You can see here like this. Same way, this will go here, this will go here. These are my outputs from the first neuron and so on. I am creating a full network. And you can see if I'm creating this type of network, how much processing is going to happen. It's like big chain. And this is like one of the simple example I'm talking about. So these are some of the chains coming in. It's like very much web like structure, right? So it's like a web. And you can see like this, you can see like this, you can see like this, and then finally I'm getting the output. That is how my network is created. But the big question here comes in our mind is, why should we actually care about multi-layer perceptron? So basically the answer for this is there are two reasons to it. One is obviously a biological inspiration. So once the neuroscientists or people who are working in neuroscience, they dissect the brains of humans, rats, monkeys, and so on, they found out that there are multiple neurons which are interconnected, or I can say the interconnected set of neurons are there, which is more powerful. And that is the main, one of the main inspirations, right? So they dissected the brain and got to know that it is not a simple single neuron, it's multiple neurons, and these are like interconnected set of neurons. That is making things more powerful. That is my first argument why multi-layer is really important. Second is mathematical argument. And for this, we'll take one example. We'll take one complex mathematical function and we'll try to see how multiple layer perceptron gonna help me to solve this complex equation. Let's say my equation is 3.5 into sine of x square plus square root of 3x. This is my complex equation. Let's go ahead and plot this in Google. Let's plot this in Google and we'll try to understand how this is gonna work. So we'll go ahead and plot. I want to plot 3.5 into sine of x square plus square root of 3x. And the plot which I am getting is this. Suppose I consider this as a linear regression problem. So I want to create a straight line like this. But here it's not very much linear. It has a pattern to it. So obviously linear regression may not work well. I have like points with some pattern. It's a complex mathematical equation. And what I want is I want to solve it using neural networks. Now, how will I do that? Let's try to understand that. How multiple perceptron gonna help me, right? Multi-level perceptron gonna help me. Let's go ahead and let's first of all think of, in this mathematical equation, I have sine, I have multiplication, I have square, I have square root, and then I am doing addition as well. So one function which is multiplication, second function is sine, third function is square, fourth function is plus, and fifth function is square root. These are the 5 functions we are applying in this particular mathematical equation. Let's say I have my function 1, which is doing the addition. I have my function 2, which is doing the square of a number. I have my function 3, which is doing the square root. I have my function 4, which is doing the sine of a number. And I have my function 5, which is doing the multiplication of a number. These are the 5 functions which I have to apply in my neural networks. But how to go about it? How my machine will, like how I'll create the neurons for it basically, or how the hidden layer will look like, what is the output, how the network will look like. Let's try to solve it. I'll create a new page and I'll first write in small fonts so that I will try to cover everything in a single page. So my function 1 is addition, function 2 is square, function 3 is square root, function 4 is sine of a number, and function 5 is multiplication. These are my 5 functions. And the equation which we are dealing with is basically nothing but my main f of x is nothing but 3.5 into sine of x square plus square root of 3x. This is my function which I want to solve using multi-perceptron, right? Multi-level perceptron. X is one of my inputs. Let's try to create the network. X is one of my inputs. 3 is one of my inputs. You can see here I have 3x, right? I have x also here. So from this X, what I will do, I will create one neuron which will multiply. And from this X also, I will create one more neuron which will do the square. The output of this particular input will go to the multiplication. The output of this will be 3x. And the output of this particular neuron will be x square. So I got my x square, I got my 3x. Now from this 3x, I want to do the square root of 3x. So I'll have one more neuron which will do square root. And the output which I will get is square root of 3x. After that, this part is done. I got this part. This part is still pending. Square of x is x square. I will apply sine function, which will give me sine of x square. And I will have one more input, which is 3.5. This input will gonna be connect with this neuron, which is the multiplication. Sine x square multiplied by 3.5. You will get 3.5 x square sine x square, right? So we'll get here 3.5 sine of x square. And then what I will do, I have to do addition, right? I want to do addition. So I'll remove this part first of all, so that it will look better. And I'll say I will drag it something like this, right? Which is my square root of 3x. And here I will have my addition neuron, which will add 3.5 sine of x square plus square root of 3x. And this will give me my predicted value y, which is nothing. This function is nothing but now this function. Done. This is what a simple neural network for this complex equation. This is my input layer. Obviously, this is my input layer. These are my hidden layers up till here, hidden layers, where I have hidden layer 1, hidden layer 2, hidden layer 3, 4, and so on. And this is my output layer. Done. So by using multi-layered structure, we can come up with the complex mathematical functions to solve out our problem. This gives us a huge power. Here we are creating non-linearity with the sequence of functions, right? We are making a non-linear function or non-linearity with a sequence of various functions. And this is basically what? It's like a function inside a function inside a function, something like that. Basically, we studied in our high school, which is nothing but function composition. F of g of x or g of f of x or h of g of x, something like that. I have 5 functions out here. We are doing something like that only, right? Here my first function is, suppose I check here, 3.5 is multiplying by sine of x square. So sine of x square is this part, which is multiplication, f of 5. So f of 5 is my first function. On top of that, sine function, which is nothing but f of 4, and then x square. So x square is basically my square function, f of 2. So basically what we are doing, in function f of 2, I am passing x. On top of that, I am passing what? The sine function, which is f of 4. On top of that, I am passing one more function, which is nothing but multiplication function, where 3.5 is an input. So that is what we are doing, function composition. So basically, multi-level perceptron is nothing but function composition or a graphical way of representing the simple function composition. So MLP is nothing but just a function composition or a graphical way of a representation of simple function composition. That's it. So at the end, multi-layer structures are very powerful. That is why we are using it. My MLPs are very powerful. That is why we are using it. But at the same time, it may lead to overfitting. It may lead to overfitting, which we'll obviously discuss about in the future discussions. We know now what overfitting is. We studied very much in detail. So just wanted to put that word out here. So that is the reason this is like biggest challenge which we have to solve. And that is what this flow which I have just discussed, the function I just created out here also. This is my flow, right? This is my flow. What we have just discussed is just for your reference. Now the next part is notation of my entire chain, right? Entire network. So here we will try to understand what it is and how we can understand this entire chain or a network. So here you can see this is my xi1, xi2, xi3, xi4, where 1, 2, 3, 4 are my inputs, the 4 dimension basically. Xi is the record number 1, record number 2, and so on, where I tends to 1 to n, and this 1, 2, 3, 4 are my dimensions. These are my various neurons, F11, F12, F13, F21, F22, F31. You can see this is my layer number 1. So you can see this part will always be 1. From top to bottom, I have numbered this 1, 2, 3, right? From top to bottom, it is ascending order. So function 1, 1, function 1, 2, function 1, 3. Same way here, this is my second layer. So function 2, 1, function 2, 2, and function 2, 3. Let me maximize this particular screen. All right. Same way, this I have only one function which is at the layer number 3, so F31. So these are my neurons with various functions, and the number, as I already mentioned, here I have already written also. I is a layer number and J is the neuron index from top. Index number 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. And when we are connecting the neurons, right, my neuron will always connect to the forward. Like it will not connect like this. There will not be connection like this. It will always be forward. Now here I am going to get the output, right, which is denoted as O. These are my outputs. So I 1, 1. So basically 1 is again layer number. The output which I am getting from first layer. That's why O1. J is my index from top. So basically the output which I am getting from this neuron is actually going to this neuron and this neuron. So basically you can see here O11, which is going here also and here also. Same way this one will be what? Layer number is 1 only, right? But neuron number is 2. So output is O12. This is also O12. This is O13, O13. Same way this output is O21. It's going to one neuron only, and this is O22. And from here O31. That is what the naming convention for the outputs. So here we are talking about the regression problem where I have xi's and yi's, where xi belong to real valued number with 4 dimensions and yi is also real valued number. Now what about the weights? We will have the weights for these all arrows, right? I can say the vertex. So how the weight nomenclature will be look like? Let's talk about this. This is W111 as my subscript or superscript. So if I try to understand this, one looks like a layer. One looks like a layer. Right? So my one here, if you see here two, this is my layers. Like basically it is going to which layer? The output is going to which layer? Is this weight is going to which layer? Basically layer number one, right? From here, the weight is gonna go to the output as layer number one. So this one means layers. So if I want to denote it, it is something like Wij of k, where k is nothing but my next layer. Right? So one is next layer where it is directing. Here it is 2 to the next layer, which is layer number 2, and so on. And what about this 1 1 1 2 1 1 1 2 2 3 2? If I see here, it's coming from my x1. Here it is coming from my x2, and here it is coming from my x3. And on which neuron it is going? It is going to neuron number 1. Which neuron it is going? Neuron number 2. Which neuron it is going? Neuron number 2. So from which variable I am getting? Variable number 1. On which neuron it is going? Neuron number 1. For example, let's say I am connecting this. What is the nomenclature for that? It will be W1 as a superscript because it is going to the layer number 1. The input is 1, but the output is going to third neuron. So this is my W with 1 as superscript 1 3. Same way, if I want to know this, what is the W for this? It is going to layer number 3, right? It's going to layer number 3. Now here the question is, what is gonna be the below numbers? If I see this one, let's take first, try to understand this one, then we'll jump to this. Here I have W21 with 2 as the layer number. It's going to layer number 2. 2 is basically my second neuron, and 1 is basically it is going to the first neuron of the next layer. So here it is the first neuron of this layer. So first neuron of this layer. And it is going to the first neuron of the next layer. So W311. This one W321. So that is how we can give the name. And every layer will have some weights, right? So this is one weight. I will have some weight here also. I'll have some weight here also. I'll have some weight here also. And it's going to the next layer where I have 3 neurons. So I have 4 inputs and 3 neurons. Total it is 4 into 3. I will have 12 weights. So weight from here, here and here. Same way here, here and here. Same way here, here and here. And same way here, here and here. 12 weights are there. In my first, what do you say, from input layer to first layer. From my first layer to second layer, I have 3 into 2, 6 weights gonna be there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And from here to here, like from layer 2 to layer 3, I have 1, 2. 2 weights are there. So how will I denote that? Let's say I have this 4 cross 3 weights, right? So it will actually generate 4 cross 3 matrix. It will generate 4 cross 3 matrix. Let's try to understand that. Let me go to PPT again. So I have this W111. So my first row will be W111. Second column will be W11121, 121, and third is W131, which is this one. Then I have W211, W221, W231, which is this, and this. Same way I have W311, W321, W331, which is nothing but this, and this. And same way W411, W421, W431, which is nothing but this, and this. And this is nothing but my 4 cross 3 matrix. That is what you will get at the end of, once you get the weights after doing all the tuning. And here you can see that I have all the chains connected, this connected to this, all the 3 neurons, this connected to all the 3 neurons, this connected to all the 3 neurons, and this connected to all the 3 neurons. This neuron connected to all the 2 neurons, this connected to all the 2 neurons, this connected to all the 2 neurons, this connected to this neuron, this connected to this neuron, and this connected to the output. Or basically I will get the output. So this type of neuron is known as fully connected, or this type of network, I can say fully connected neural network. That is the whole idea. And this is very, very important. Kindly go through the nomenclature, because this notation is very much important once we'll talk about the mathematics, right? So we should understand. Suppose I say I am talking about W212. I should understand what weight I am talking about. Suppose I'm talking about output 11. So I should be able to understand what output I'm talking about. Right? So all those things are very, very important. So kindly go through this again if you're confused here, because this is very, very important for the future sessions.